What's up guys, it's your girl Alexa and I am back with another video, and today's video is going to be about ruling over impossibility. Me and a bunch of other believers, I'm pretty sure we ran into times where circumstances looked impossible, and it's usually in those moments where the enemy comes in and tries to steal our faith. And faith is so important because it's like the key that unlocks the next. You know what I mean? So, this is why the enemy's always trying to get us in doubt and fear, disbelief, unbelief, hopelessness. These are all agents of attacking faith, something that is required to please God. It's something that's required to walk this faith walk with Him. So, I have a few scriptures for it today, but I really wanted to dive into John chapter 20 verses 24 through 29. So let's dive into that really quick. It says, "Now Thomas, called the twin, one of the 12, was not with them when Jesus came." So just a little background, during this time period, this is right after Jesus rose again, and he was walking around, and some of the disciples saw him. They saw the nails in his hand, the hole in his side, right? And they were, this is when it's just happening. And then they went back to tell one of the disciples, and his name was Thomas. And Thomas was in complete disbelief. So let me keep reading. Verse 24, it says, "Now Thomas, called the twin, one of the 12, was not with them when Jesus came. The other disciples therefore said to him, 'We have seen the Lord.' So he said to them, 'Unless I see in his hands the print of the nails, and put my fingers into the print of the nails, and put my hand into his side, I will not believe.' And after 8 days, his disciples were again inside, and Thomas with them. Jesus came, the doors being shut, and stood in the midst and said, 'Peace to you.' Then he said to Thomas, 'Reach your finger here and look at my hands. Reach your hand here and put it into my side. Do not be unbelieving, but believing.' And Thomas answered and said to him, 'My Lord and my God.' Jesus said to him, 'Thomas, because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen, yet have believed.'" So, stopping right there, it spoke to me so clearly because it made me realize, blessed are those who saw and believe, but even blessed are you who have not seen and still believes. And I was just thinking, when Jesus died, bring this into your reality. To me, I was just thinking about my dad, but that's because my father passed away, and that's like him raising again in 3 days, the impossibility of it. And even though they saw all of this in the flesh when Jesus was here, they saw him raise the dead and cast out demons, all these impossible miracles, they saw him do it. But when he died, they lost faith, they lost hope, because they didn't know what was next. And again, this whole journey with God, dying to self is like an ongoing thing. It doesn't necessarily really stop. So I just want to put that out there. Situations, God may lead you into situations that may die. Something, a relationship, a connection, your job, a career, a hobby, something that may die, that he might let die, right? But it doesn't mean to stop having faith, and it doesn't mean to stop believing. It just means that you are going from glory to glory. So when Jesus died, and this is the passage of scripture where, he was on the cross, he was about to die. Let's start at verse 28. So verse 28, "After this, Jesus, knowing that all things were now accomplished, that the scripture might be fulfilled, said, 'I thirst.' Now a vessel full of sour wine was sitting there, and they filled a sponge with sour wine, put it on hyssop," don't get me lying, "and put it to his mouth. So when Jesus had received the sour wine, he said, 'It is finished,' and bowing his head, he gave up his spirit." Sometimes the Lord will allow you to go through situations where it is finished. I like to call them the "it is finished" type of situations, because it's at that point. It's at the point where it seems like all hope is gone. It's at the point where it's completely dead, like deader than dead. Like you thought it was dead then and it's really dead now. Like those situations, you keep going and it seems even more dead and even more impossible. Those are the situations, those are the exact moments where it becomes possible. See, sometimes God will lead you into a situation. He will literally have you walk a path that sometimes comes to a halt, or at least seems like it. And when he leads you, he's literally setting you up for a blessing. He's literally setting you up for that next open door. When it becomes so impossible, like far beyond your reach, that's where God steps in. I've seen him do it over and over and over again in my life, since I rededicated my life to him, and he has not failed me yet. So even when in the midst of when it looks so impossible, believe him in even more, trust him even more, because it's at that moment when you should know for sure that God is finna come through. Okay, he's gotta come through when it's so impossible. I mean, those are the moments when it's like the change is here, you know? And those are the moments where it's really important not to let the enemy get to you. See, if we don't allow room for the enemy, if we don't allow him to take our faith, you know, if we don't allow him to shift our perspective of what's really going on, because the enemy's always coming to steal that faith and steal your perspective of what God is doing, your perspective of God. He's always trying to make you feel like God is not there, that he just left, and that is so far from the truth. When I tell you, it's very far. It's not even close to the truth. So in those moments, it's very important not to lean on your own understanding. Do not lean on that understanding. Do not lean on what you can naturally see, but press in to that faith. You got to press into that. And it's not going to be comfortable. It's not. But as soon as you actually let go and let God do it. Believe what he said from the beginning. If he is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, he's got it under control. Because the situation may be new to you, but it's definitely not new to God at all in any way. So stand fast in that faith. I wanted to go back to another scripture that I had. And in this passage, it's called Sorrow Will Turn to Joy, right? This is where Jesus is telling the disciples what's about to come, right? This is before he got arrested, before, you know, the whole ordeal, right before he died. It brings into perspective what I just read when Jesus was like, don't be unbelieving, be believing. Because even though he did die, when he said it was finished and he died, he did rose again. And it was a couple of days afterward, and it didn't look like he was going to do it. They probably thought, oh, it's probably going to happen right away. They probably had all these ideas in their mind of how it's going to go. And it completely caught them off guard when he actually did die. And he was actually, you know, they wrapped him up, put him in a tomb for 3 days. Those are days. And can you imagine the hopelessness that's, you know, the unbelief that's going through their mind? I mean, even when he does die, imagine, like, you know, just being confused. And after 3 days, you're like, man, this man that I followed, he done all these things. And they're probably thinking, oh, did I follow the wrong teaching? Did I follow the wrong leader? Was he a false prophet? Was he this and that and the third? All these questions was probably really going through their head. Because I know for me, when God tells me to do something and I do it and it's looking even more opposite, like it's like the opposition literally comes right when you step out on faith and what God is telling you to do. It's like hand in hand. So you can like literally expect the opposition to come. And when it does, know that that's your confirmation. That is your confirmation right there that God is really doing something. So let me read the passage. I'm going to start at verse 16. This is John 16, verse 16. This is Jesus talking. He says, "A little while and you will not see me, and again a little while you will see me, because I go to the Father." Then some of his disciples said among themselves, "What is it that he says to us? A little while and you will not see me, and again a little while you will see me?" They were just really questioning it. Verse 18, it says, they said, therefore, what is this that he says a little while? We do not know what he is saying. Verse 19, now Jesus knew that they desired to ask him, and he said to them, are you inquiring among yourselves about what I said? A little while and you will not see, and again a little while you will see me again. Most assuredly I say to you that you will weep and lament, but the world will rejoice, and you will be sorrowful, but your sorrow will be turned into joy. A woman, when she is in labor, she has sorrow because her hour has come. But as soon as she has given birth to the child, she no longer remembers the anguish for joy that a human being has been born into the world. Therefore, you now have sorrow, but I will see you again, and your heart will rejoice, and your joy no one will take from you. Verse 23, and in that day you will ask me nothing. Most assuredly I say to you, whatever you ask the Father in my name, he will give to you. Until now you have asked nothing in my name. Ask, and you will receive, that your joy may be full. So this is what he was warning the disciples, what's to come. They had no idea, no full understanding what was about to happen. But it came to pass, because a few chapters down, he rose again, and he's walking around with the holes in his hand, and he's telling Thomas, don't be unbelieving, but believing. And then he says, blessed are those who have not seen, yet have believed. So which side you gonna be on, right? And it's okay, because I'm not gonna lie, the journey's hard. It's hard because most times you don't necessarily have, well, I know for me, I don't necessarily have that support or people around me who is understanding of what God is doing in my life, so it makes it harder, because you're already dealing with your own doubts, but then they come in and then they add their doubts on top of it, and it's like, well, come on, I don't need your doubt. You don't understand it. It's best that you don't even ask. So I understand that sometimes it's really hard, and some people might talk down on you, and people will make fun of you and just treat you all kinds of ways because of their lack of understanding. And there's a scripture in the Bible that says, my people perish for lack of knowledge, right? So, it's important in those moments to go to God and be honest about how you feel, cry it out with them if you need to, but don't think that you have to be strong all the time. He wants you to be just you. So even in those moments, we're human, things do hurt. Go to him, cry it out, talk about how you feel to him, and let him minister to you. Because every time I've done that, every time I just came to him and just cried, it was like he took whatever was weighing me down, and then I'll get up and I'm just like refreshed and renewed. I feel like I can keep going. So sometimes you might have to cry. Sometimes it's okay to not understand and express to God how you feel, even if it's contrary. Sometimes I'm like, God, I want to quit. I don't want to do this no more. I want to go back to my old life. I want to do what I want to do. Only because I'm hurt, because I'm feeling like because sometimes you're kind of feeling like abandoned. You start not feeling abandoned, but you start thinking like, dang, like how long this gonna be? You let the uncomfortability start talking to you. But there's another scripture in the Bible that says discipline isn't enjoyable, and in fact it's painful, but afterward you reap a harvest, and I'm paraphrasing, but a plentiful harvest. And pretty much telling us that it's worth it. Sometimes it's not gonna be comfortable. It's not gonna be something that easy. It's not gonna be easy, but it's definitely worth it. This journey is definitely worth it. The faith walk is definitely worth it. This message is called ruling over impossibility, because it is possible. It is very possible for you to rule over impossibility if you follow God and you keep following him, no matter what it looks like. That faith walk with him is very important. Also, I wanted to share this verse that helps me to remember that God will not put you to shame. I know it's hard, and I know sometimes it feels like there is no hope, and sometimes you start thinking about, man, I should have done something else. But you're too far in it to go back, and you just gotta keep going forward. Oh, Gosh, I understand that. I get it. I really do. And I know it's hard and you may cry, but don't you dare let go of your faith. Don't you dare do it. Don't you dare do it. You're gaining footing. This is why the enemy is attacking you so much. This is why he keeps trying to make you think that this is for nothing. It's why he keeps trying to make you think that God is against you. It's why he's trying to make you think that there's no hope. It's why he's trying to make you think that God left. It's why he's trying to make you think that it's too impossible for God to solve. This is why. As you're gaining that footing. This is the endurance. You're building your faith. You're building that faith muscle. It's required, and it's okay. Cry it out if you need to. Take a break if you need to. But do it with him. Do it with him. Acknowledge God in all your ways, and he will direct your path. Do it with him. The good, the bad, and ugly, do it with him. Don't ever stop doing with him. I don't care if you want to quit. Communicate with him. Keep communicating with him. Keep allowing God in your space. Communicate. Keep developing that relationship. God will not let you fail. And he will not put you to shame. So I wanted to read Isaiah chapter 54 verse 4, and that says, "Do not fear, for you will not be ashamed, neither be disgraced, for you will not be put to shame. For you will forget the shame of your youth, and will not remember the reproach of your widowhood anymore." God will not put you to shame. So keep trusting and keep believing in him. You got this. You can do this. I'm doing it with you. I'm praying with you. And I just want y'all to get the revelation, because I don't want you to ever be misled. I don't want to just tell you blessings, 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 and not tell you the journey and the difficulties that come with it. I want you to have a real understanding and perspective of what this faith walk means and what this faith journey actually looks like. Because boy, some days are harder than others, but I can't even express to you how much is worth it. So just keep fighting, keep going. I'm here for you. I'm praying for you guys. This was the Lex Effect, and I'll talk to you guys soon.